Okay, guys. So, I just wanted to make a quick video on reloading for 223. If you, and I'm going to go over a couple problems that I had, and the reason that I go over these problems is that I don't see anything else on YouTube about these issues, and that's what I try to make most of my videos on. I try to make them on things that you cannot find. So we're covering all the bases. So I have two different types of shell that I'm trying to reload. I have, well, they're both 223 556, but some are 556 and some are 223. Now let me show you the difference really quick on these two. Let me see here if I can get this to focus. Okay. Now if you look at these two shells, you can see that there is a difference. If you look at the one on the right, you'll see a little crimp mark on the top. That is a 556. The one on the left is a 223. So, keeping that in mind, let me check, make sure. Okay, we're still good. Keeping that in mind, I've noticed that the necks on these 556, sometimes when you go to resize these casings, it will split the neck. Well, some people will say that that's non-reloadable. Just throw it away. It's garbage now because the neck is split. I am going to say the same thing because I really am not going to play around with that. But the 223, it resizes perfectly, no issues. It doesn't hurt the shell or anything. Everything is fine. Also, the biggest problem that I'm running into is that 556 casings will take a primer. Okay, let's see. Okay, so this is the 556. Took the primer, no problem. So let's get a 223 and see what happens. So this is a 223. Ha, exactly. So 90% of the time with this 223, these 223 cases will not take a primer. So what I'm doing is that when I get one of those, I set it off to the side, and then once I get a pile of them built up over here, I take a countersink bit. This one just happens to be a 3/4. I had it in the toolbox. And what I do is I take these shells, and once I get a pile of them, I just chamfer them all, just like this. And then once I have a chamfer on them, here, let me show you what it looks like now. Let me see if I can find another 223 that's unchamfered and chamfered. Okay, so the one on the right is just how they are, and the one on the left is chamfered. You can see that chamfer. Okay, so now with that chamfer on there, which one? Okay, so this is the chamfered one. Boom! Takes the primer. I mean, it still goes in hard. It just helps it a little bit. It just gives it a little bit of a funnel effect to get it squeezed down into that pocket. I mean, so that's really all I wanted to cover. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that issue. Also, if you haven't already, if you're thinking about reloading 223, always remember when you're reloading rifle to use lube when you're reloading rifle. There's a lot more stress, I guess you could say, being put on the casing itself. or stickability, I guess you could say, however the hell you want to say that. So, and I thought to myself, I really don't need to use lube. Not that, yeah, it's going to be tougher, but you don't really need it. It's just everybody does it, right? So I used lube on a few and everything went fine. Then I used no lube on a few and everything went fine. Then all of a sudden I had one that stuck in the case, and now I'm back on YouTube looking up a stuck case in a dye video. And there's a couple of them on there. I chose to go with the socket method. Apparently there is a tool that you can buy, an extraction tool, for I think it's like $20 is what the guy said. But I mean, really, why? Why would you buy a $20 tool when you could just use some stuff that you have laying around the house? And for that, I used a 1/2-inch socket with a 1/4-inch drive, just so it made it tight. And then I used the 1/4-inch washers, 1/4 bolt, and 7/32 drill bit, and a 1/4 die, or a tap. And it worked a lot better than what I even was thinking. I thought for sure I was going to rip the threads right out of the bottom of this case when I started tightening these nuts down, because of just you could feel the amount of force that it was using, and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, it's getting tight enough to where it's ripping those threads, because it's just a brass case. It's soft. I mean, when you drill and tap it, you'll see what I mean on how soft the brass is. But no, worked fine. I believe the kit, the kit also is using a 1/4-inch. I believe it's also using a 1/4-inch, 1/4 calls for a 1/4. I'm not sure what it comes with, but so anyway, easy to make yourself. So anyway, 556, 223, those are the differences, and those are the problems that you might run into. Just want to give you guys a heads up. Thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Subscribe, tell your friends, whatever. And I don't mind answering questions, so post them below.